looks like I really am live now. Okay. Oh. Getting in there. Go let other folks know that we're live. I think it's just me right now. Let's see. Stream settings, stream URL. Channel. Okay. Let's see. Oh, that's no good. Let's try that. All right. All right, we'll see if that attracts anybody. Anybody here now? Oh, all right. Looks like folks are actually here. How about that? Well, welcome. This is Slithy Games Live here, late on a Saturday night. I'm just trying to get things going. This may be Sunday morning, wherever you are. And I'm trying to get my audio patched. All of a sudden, my this game here did not want to patch any audio. What I'm playing tonight is this guy right here. This is a Namco Bandai all-in-one. It has all the games you see here, and a theme you might notice with all these games, these are mostly using the same original arcade hardware, and of course that hardware was Z80 based. So we're going to see what the Z80 can do, just going a little back in time, see what the Z80 could do when you basically had an unlimited budget, when it was okay to have a machine cost thousands of dollars to just do one thing and one thing only, and that is to play an arcade game. So that's what we're going to do now. But man, I don't know why my audio does not want to come through on here. We'll see here. Well, of course, we're just going to do the Pac Man right here. One player only. I don't think I'm going to be getting anything out of this, right? No, I don't think I'm getting any sound coming through. But yeah, this is the classic. This is what started it all. It inspired me to make Chase Fall. This joystick is not the best. You know, I tried to do a schedule of a game streaming at 1 a.m. and without getting this this sound to work correctly. I don't know why. I might have to, let me try killing that sound and adding it anew. Let's see. All right, looks like I'm back. Let's see. Audio input capture. Create new. Let's see here. Let me just call it Pac Man, just so I know what we're talking about. And this is that mono. All right. Oh, it looks like, am I actually getting something? Ooh, I think I might be. All right. There we go. All right, so we're getting something. I think I may have to turn it down a bit because it's probably going to be a bit too loud. And the headphones aren't helping me at all. I can't get the sound to stream into my in my headphones because I don't know how to do any of this stuff. All right. All right. So yeah. So the sound, of course, for Pac Man was all custom hardware, a lot more sophisticated, obviously, than the ZX Spectrum. It wasn't just a beeper, but it wasn't as fancy as like a lot of the FM synthesis that we would have seen in some later games. But you know, it was really a time before people started even thinking that games could have music behind them. And what we'll see on this little device are a bunch of games that went across what the what the history was of Namco and arcade video games in general. And let's see, does anybody chatting on there? I've got 4 people. It looks like are on here. It's good to see you guys came back after my technical difficulty there. My studio program decided to crap out, and I guess we're back now. But anyway, if you are new here, in fact, on my channel, if you're a patron or a member, I don't have any members yet, but I've recently done that. Oh, this is really... I don't send. No. I cancel that. All right. I think we're still doing fine there. But I'm going to go ahead and post this on the old Patreon here, so everybody can say hi to Patreon. All right, I'm going live on YouTube right now. If you want to come join us, go to my channel and see what's going on. All right, talk to you then. Going live on YouTube right now. So there we go. All right. So going back to this this system here. Oops. Come on now. There we go. So you can see here, these are the different games that are on here. We've got Pac Man, Super Pac Man, Pac and Pal, Pac Man Plus, and Pac Man 256, which of course is the one new game where it actually fixes the bug in the original Pac Man and lets you actually roll over to level 256. And yeah, or maybe it does. Maybe does it bring you right up to level 256? I'm not sure. Let's take a look. What does Pac Man 256 do? Of course, you know, in the lore is that and it's not just lore; it's the actual reality that in the original Pac Man, it used an 8-bit value for the level, and so you were fine up to level 255. And if you tried to up the level, it would go to level 0, and it caused all sorts of bad glitching on that. So it had all sorts of garbage going on there. Oh, maybe I found all these keys. I'm wondering. Oh boy, it is going fast, isn't it? Though? Oh wow. Why didn't it? Let's see. You're gonna come at me? Let's see what happens. Oh, I ate the pellet and it doesn't even do anything? What kind of nonsense is that? Alright. So, this is like, I guess, the impossible version of Pac Man. Well, we'll go back to the game select screen. So, I don't know what he's chatting up there yet. We'll see. Let me get all the chat. I don't get any of the chats. The stream settings, viewer activity. All right. Yeah, I don't even know how well this is going out. But we'll see. So yeah, most of these games didn't have any music until you got to Rally X. And so Rally X actually sort of invented sort of the whole concept of sort of a continuous melodic music happening during the game. And we'll hear it right here. I mean, really, a lot of innovations in Rally X. You have that overhead map. Just to have music playing during the whole thing, it was really quite unusual. And it just wasn't something that anybody bothered to try doing before. Because, you know, it was like, it was in a loud arcade. And can you really hear music? Well, it turns out you kind of can. You can hear those little sound effects. But you can actually hear the music, and it can be a big part of the attraction of the machine is to hear some music playing and be able to, you know, like have a little more entertainment for people. Oh, just watching you. Okay. Oh, again. That wasn't good. This is a game that gets a lot harder once you get up to the second level. It really amps it up, and you can see also how these games are made to really just eat your quarters. There was no intention there of engaging you beyond that first quarter. It's like you get in there. Hopefully you and your quarter are parted within a minute. That's really what the name of the game was to get it so that you put your quarter in, you play for about 40 seconds. That's what the arcades wanted you to do. A lot of that, of course, was selectable, especially later on. You could select the difficulty settings in these games, and be able to really see like how much revenue you could get out of these machines. So if you had a bunch of like older teens who were really experienced, and they were coming in and just monopolizing all this time, putting in 1/4, and then staying on the machines for 10, 20 minutes, that's a disaster for the arcade. I mean, they're losing money at that point. So as games progressed and evolved, you got to the point where you'd have literal just dip switches right in there, and the technician that would come and take the quarters and just perform any sort of maintenance that may be necessary in the machine. There could be like a component that needs to be replaced or something, and while they were in there, the arcade owner could say, hey, these kids are getting too good at this game. We need to up the difficulty and get some more throughput on there, get them pumping more quarters in the machine. And that's what they could do. But some of these older games, you couldn't do that, so they just made them really punishingly difficult. But then you'd get these people in here that really knew how to play the games well. So how are we doing here? Okay, well, we still got some folks in here. So I don't know if anybody that's in here, please come into the chat. Let me know what you want to see in here. Let's see, who do we got? Participants. Yeah, I can't even see the chat on there. If I can get the maybe if it was on my YouTube app.
Hey, what if I told you that you could go from this to this in just 24?
Get that turned off. And we'll see. Oh, look at this. Okay. I don't know why I can't get I can't get the chat to come up on my computer. So, all right. Well, little greetings here for everybody. Morning, Martin Steed. Away from home and can never sleep. Too. That's why you're streaming. Come say hello. Well, thanks for coming by. Michael Weber, good evening. Archangel Ortiz, self. Yes, I am keeping odd hours. No games. Well, hopefully that's been fixed now. Martin takes me back. Spent so many hours playing Pac Man Defender. Yeah, I know. I played a lot of that. Let me see here if I can get what's going on. Yeah, I definitely played a lot of Pac Man, like from an early age. Like I was 5 when Pac Man came out, and I played a lot of it. I couldn't do it very well, but I was in there. Yeah, definitely the machines added to the ambience. All right. So Martin said it was a bit hard to hear. All right, let me get that. Let me get all the chat going. Huh. Not receiving enough video. Boy, this just probably isn't really working too well, is it? I'm really sorry about this. But let's see, live chat. Let's get back to the live chat. All right. I'll turn the sound down a little bit more on the stream there. So we'll bring this guy down and we'll try another game. So, all right, Archangel, I always had a fascination with the vector games. Yeah, vector games were really cool. I definitely played a lot of Asteroid, played the original Star Wars game a lot. I played the Tron games. Played a lot of those vector games. Really enjoyed those. But yeah, Namco didn't do a lot of that. Here we can see. Go back here on the back to the main screen. Tempest. Yep. Oh, hi Stinker. How you doing? All right. So let's take a look here at some of the other games. A little more different games. Bosconian. I think this was another game really for Namco that was again just really groundbreaking, and games like this would continue to be made. Okay, let's see. ready? All right. Yeah. To really get that movement, you get like things fixed in space that you could actually move around. I mean, really good. This is really where you're talking about the kind of the kind of graphical capabilities that would take a long time. I mean, this was a pretty early game too. We're talking about early 80s, and it was not able to. You couldn't do something like this on a home console. We're talking about really when the arcades were where it's at. Lunar Lander, yes. Try and do something like Space Wars in X16. Yeah, that would be really cool. General Plus powered. Yeah, that's right. Good old, AA batteries. This is an official product. This is emulation for the mass market that is, it's fully 100% above board. And there is in this some manner of Z80 emulation, or there may be a real Z80. I've never even cracked it open. I've managed to stave my curiosity long enough to not actually break this open and see what's inside. And I think more importantly, be able to go in there and see what kind of hardware is in there, and if I could even do a homebrew for this thing. Like if this is just a Z80 with some ASIC for doing all the graphics and sound and the video output, and then maybe a ROM chip that could be reflashed, or maybe even a flash chip. Who knows? If I could reflash what's in here, that'd be pretty cool. So, all right, let's see. Some more good games on here. Xevious, yeah. Great aerial combat game. I mean, look at it. I mean, this is far beyond what you could do with a Spectrum or an NES or really anything in the home until you got to the 16-bit era, until you got to a oh, there you go. Oh, I couldn't get the bomb in there in time. Until you got to the Genesis, Mega Drive, Super Nintendo, the NES wasn't quite up to this level of graphics. I mean, you could get really close, so you could kind of cheap out on the colors and get pretty close. It just wouldn't be quite this smooth, and it wouldn't be quite this. There we go. Took that. Wouldn't be quite this colorful. You'd have to figure out how to do some 4-color bits where you have 16 colors that you're dealing with on here. Yeah, TV game chips with a Z80. Yeah, and it may very well be. I'd be very interested to find out what this is. So, what do you guys think? Think I should crack this puppy open? See what's inside? I probably won't do it in a live stream. That would be like a recorded video. But I'm definitely very curious. I actually have some other, not quite plug and play, more like knockoff consoles. I have some a knockoff NES Classic, and I have a knockoff SNES, but it's not an SNES Classic. It is actually just another NES mini console that just is made to look like an SNES in a tiny little form factor, and then it just has a bunch of NES. I mean, really, they're Famicom games. It's almost entirely Japanese. It was made in China for the Asian market, so they use a lot of the Japanese-only games. A lot of games I had never seen or heard of before, and I don't really understand a lot of them because even their text is Japanese, or they don't even bother. Like some Japanese games do English text in them, but a lot of these don't, so I have no idea what's going on. All right, let's try something else. I'm not going to stay on too long. This is kind of late. So another good one on here is are you all right? Here, why don't you get some water? Okay. So Dig Dug was probably another one of my favorite games, one of my go-tos in the arcade back then, especially when you had a like a skating rink. That was one that was there. That once I'd take some time off from skating around, go play Dig Dug for a while. I could go pretty far on a quarter for that. That's definitely something that would be more enticing. Is maybe a game that wasn't so challenging as much as maybe a little more time killing. Right, like if a song I didn't care for was on, I could go in there and play it for a while. All right, let's see what I got. All right, here we go, Dig Dug. So again, some little music to start it out. And I love the gameplay where you're just inflating things until they until they just explode. Quite ooh. Just love that. So train with Dig Dug graffiti on a boxcar. Very nice. There's some cool graffiti artists. Hate to see something like like Cyberpunk or something done for graffiti. I mean, who cares? Just add to the cultural noise, but bring something else into the world. There's actually a big trailer, like a semi-trailer that's permanently parked behind the Dunkin' Donuts in my neighborhood. It's just sort of like a field behind the Dunkin' Donuts, and they took and made this trailer look like a NES controller, which I definitely appreciate. I don't know how many other people around me care for that, but I think it looks really nice. I just love to see people incorporating retro stuff into like everyday life, and you could just see that and remind people who may not be seeking out content like my videos or any of the other retro stuff on YouTube, and see like, oh yeah, I remember that. Well, maybe that'll encourage them to like go back, maybe check out some emulation. Like I've got a Switch, I can play a selection of NES games directly on that. And you got the things like the NES Classic, or even if it is, just these sketchy things like the little pirate emulators you get from China, or the real NES Classic, or who knows, maybe we'll get people to to find a real NES and start trying to play that. I haven't even looked at the chat in a while, so I don't know if anybody's saying anything. I'm getting too much into the game. So Stinker says, I think this is the GPL 16250. Employs a 16-bit architecture called UNSP, Micro NSP. Mortal Kombat unit MVG took a turn and uses older SMP system on chip. Okay. Definitely very interesting. I mean, yeah, it is kind of a black box because you can't add software to this, so I mean, who knows what it is? It could be an ASIC that all it does is play these like dozen Namco games, and that's it. You never know what you're going to get with these things. Like another thing that I've seen actually at my local drugstore is a retro handheld console, but it's all just built-in games, and they're not like Game Boy games or NES games, but they're definitely like NES style games. And I don't know if people are just cranking out games for these devices. If these were like already unlicensed Famicom and Nintendo games, like NES games that they don't have to worry about getting rights to. I have no idea where they get the games. I've been tempted because it's literally like $9, $9 for a handheld game with a little color LCD, like a little like 2-inch color LCD, and it plays like a bunch of games. I mean, who knows what's going on there? All right, let's see. Maybe we'll get like do one more game. Oh yeah, let's do some Galaga. And really, again, talking about like a big leap forward. Galaxian is on here also. That was the original space combat, like Namco's answer to Space Invaders, and then that it led to Galaga. And Galaga, the Galaga machine, ended up becoming a hardware standard for Namco, where a lot of games were built using the same hardware as Galaga. So let's just play the original one. And I think really a much stronger game in my mind than Space Invaders. Obviously, it's more colorful. And it does have the benefit of having come out a few years later. But very dynamic. Just being able to, I mean, you still just have the same side-to-side movement, but you don't have. I never liked having the little, blockades there that you had to kind of maneuver around. It just seems kind of weird. So I definitely like this. I like the fact they're like space bugs. It's kind of cool. And there you go. Game over. There's your typical Galaga game. That's about all they were expecting you to be able to do on a single quarter. And then what they'd want you to do is just keep plugging in those quarters and keep getting a little farther. Stinker says, popular for its time, VTech V-Smile also uses a similar system on chip as Mortal Kombat. Interesting. I've never tried. I've been tempted to get one of those little VTech consoles for my kids. Not for me so much. I wouldn't expect to derive too much enjoyment from one of those. But they do look kind of interesting. But I mean, now my kids are old enough that they just play on the Switch, and that's what they'll if I let them, they'll just curl up with it for hours on end, and yeah, so that's that's where we're at with that. But it is very interesting, these sort of just little off the wall consoles that were never intended to be big mass market things like a PlayStation or anything. And oh, look at that! Just disco corruption in the ROM. So yeah, so these ROMs are not perfect. Oh, it looks like it just does like a full on reset after you just leave it in attract mode for too long. That's weird. So yeah, I think that's about all we're doing today. Just doing like 35 minutes. But for all you folks here, if you weren't here at the beginning, I just want to thank you for coming on, and to let you know, if you are a patron of mine on Patreon, you can see my next video that's coming out Monday. It's the episode 3 of my Z80 tutorial series for targeting the ZX Spectrum. And so that's available right now if you're a patron on Patreon, or if you want to just join my YouTube channel, you can do that too if you don't want to do the whole Patreon thing. And you can see that video right now, but for everybody else, that will be coming out on Monday. So I hope you all enjoy this. I hope you like this kind of weird little one-off thing. I was just wanted to do a test run with this all in one, because I think the real big plug and play test that I want to do and eventually make like a proper video of and record is with this the knockoff NES Famicom little mini consoles, and really get into like what those are, and probably do a live stream with that, but generally using this live streaming software to record a video that I can edit down so that it's not just a bunch of rambling and technical hiccups and things. So that's it. That's all I got for tonight. If anybody else has any questions or anything, or a request, if you wanted to see one of the games I didn't do on there, let me know. I can hang on for a couple more minutes. Otherwise, I'm going to call it a night. I got to check for myself to see what my new video looks like now that it should be fully rendered in HD on the YouTube. But no, it seems pretty quiet on there. So again, I thank you, folks. It wasn't a huge turnout, but I know I was definitely coming on too early for folks in Europe, and too late for a lot of folks here in America. But this was, again, these are just my little trial run live streams. Eventually I'll be doing live streams in time slots that are going to be more viable for a larger audience to watch. So I can sort of fumble through in obscurity until I'm ready to really go public with a lot of this stuff. So again, I